Hey everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mystic Guy, Board Game Geek, bringing you a special treat today. I am going to be starting a playthrough of Darkest Night 2nd Edition by Jeremy Leonard and produced by Victory Point Games. One of my all-time favorite games, and what you're looking at here is the map for the 2nd edition. Now, I'm going to preface that this is all beta prototype components, even though they're spectacular already. I just want to be clear on that. I'm going to also be using some things that don't come from the 2nd edition because I like them. Like, well, a couple things, not really a lot of things, but like this. This is a little dice tower I'll be using. It's from my my 1st edition Necromancer bundle that I actually didn't get the bundle because I had collected everything over time. So I bought the box, the 1st edition Necromancer bundle box, and it came with a poster and a little dice tower. So anyway, pretty cool stuff. I'm going to say that first off, in this episode, we're not going to get to playing. This is going to be all talking about components and setup and differences. And there really aren't too many tremendous obvious changes. Now, I'm also going to say that everything I'm going to be playing, I'm going to play with everything. This is going to be the kitchen sink with 4 characters, and we're going to randomize what those characters are because I like to brutalize myself by maybe accidentally picking the worst combination of 4 characters. But we're going to play 4 characters. Now, my buddy and fellow YouTuber Markus at Jplay is going to do the 2-player variant, and I'm going to reference him and his site in this video so that you can see me do a 4-player session of it, and he's going to do the 2-player variant, and I think that's cool. You'll get to see both sides of that coin then. And there's also some other variants within the book. We're not going to get into those necessarily, but we're going to play with everything, as I said, everything in the kitchen sink. And that includes things like the darkness cards and the mystery cards, which replace the keys, for example, in the base game. So if you're just playing with the base game, you know, you'd be playing with these keys, which are even though I kind of liked, so to be fair, I kind of like the shaped keys. Now I know why they did this because these are laser cut counters like you would have gotten normally from Victory Point Games, but I think the final product counters will be die cut and so more mass produced. So the amount of different shapes you can have, I think, and I don't know enough about die cutting to be sure, might not be able to take on the key shape like the old 1st edition laser cut keys did. Anyway, it's still a really great little illustration of a key, if you can see it clearly enough. And the keys are now going, you still use the keys, but they're replaced by the mystery cards. And when you gather so many of these keys from these I'll show you. They're on the map cards or on things, and you're going to gather them up, and it's going to go up the track. And when you get to 10 of these, using this token here, then you can that gives you the ability to I think that's when you get the relic. I'll have to check the rules as I go, but I'm pretty sure, like in the old one, you get 10 of you get these mysteries, and you can collect keys that would give you points that would allow you to get a relic, and then also attack the necromancer. So if you're familiar with Darkest Night, then this will be a lot of the same stuff. But and I obviously I haven't looked through, as I've put up some, I'm going to put up some pictures. Like right here, you see some clips of all of the characters that come with Darkest Night 2nd edition, and I want to be very clear on this, if they hit all their stretch goals, because everything that I have here is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be all the stretch goals. Like if it gets blown out, they may add more. I don't know. But what is intended, I believe, for the Kickstarter is going to be the base game, and then a couple of expansions that encompass numerous characters. The mystery deck, the darkness deck, the quest deck. Now, if I recall, and again, these things could change because the Kickstarter is coming soon or just come out as I release this. The quests are now part of the base game, I believe. And yeah, in fact, I'm looking at the base rules on my screen. I don't have them printed out, but I do have them on my screen. And that is true that what comes in the second and 3rd expansion, or the 1st and 2nd expansion rather, are the darkness cards and the mystery cards, plus additional map cards, additional quest cards, artifacts, characters, events, etc., and items. Right. Blights have not changed. The concept of the game has not changed at all. And again, I haven't done enough, and where I was going with this is I haven't researched the individual character abilities enough to know whether or not they have changed dramatically in how they play. Now, I'm going to have to assume that a lot of things have changed because you have something that is a definite addition to the game, which is called sparks, which when you spend them, you get an extra die to your roll. And that's important because some people think that Darkest Night's particularly hard, and sometimes it is, depending on the combination of characters you have and just random luck. But I particularly, I've played it a number of times, even on my playthroughs where I've actually won. And so in testing out this version of the game, there are ways to make it difficult, and I might go over some of that at the end of the playthrough and just talk about how you make it difficult. I may do a little bit about that at the end of setup, just to say how I'm going to be playing this game, because I'm going to be playing at the standard level, so I don't want the playthrough to go on to I don't want the playthrough to be too long or too difficult or too easy. So we're going to play it down the middle of the road. That said, the sparks to me in my playtesting might make it a little easy for veteran players of the game, and it depends on how you ratchet up the game, right? But again, since we're playing with everything in the kitchen sink, and the main way you adjust the difficulty level, the main way is through the event deck. There's several in the new rules. There's several variations on the event deck. There's some that make it easier, some that make it harder, some that make it just focused, like it could be all creatures and fights and stuff like that, and some that are more magical, mystical, with the blights that come out that aren't as, and it also, I think it alters the map deck as well. Or maybe it's the map deck, I don't remember if you alter both, but anyway, there's ways to make it easier and harder. The board itself is awesome. I love this board. I'm going to move the box out of the way just to give you a clear picture of the board. This is the village. The illustrations on it are fantastic, and I like this. The spaces are bigger because the cards that might go on them are also bigger. So, for example, the quests, well, I don't know, I have to go back and look, but the quests are normal size cards anyway. However, the blights are bigger. The relic tokens, these are the relic tokens. You can see that they're good size, and they're going to go on those spaces right there. We're going to place them out while we're talking, so you can see that. And there's also like other cool tokens that go with your character that help activate, help you to track whether an ability is active or inactive instead of placing it on your hero card, etc. Hero cards look much the same, though there are some improvements that I like they've shaded out the areas. See that they didn't do it on the grace track, but on the secret suite track it's shaded out past 6, because a lot of things just take you up to a certain level, right? So that's just a helpful reminder. And same as the old game, all the other character cards are on the back, show the order of play, which we'll go over. The only thing I really have to do, I've set up almost everything. I've shuffled all the decks. I've done the vast majority of the setup here. The only thing I really have to do is draw our characters, and then we can talk a little bit about the character abilities. And I figured since I'm doing a full playthrough, you'll get to see all of the components of the game and how pretty they are. I mean, guys, this is supposed to be a beta version. When I cracked open that box and saw all this cool stuff and how the character decks are laid out and everything, I was like, wow, if this is a beta version, I cannot wait to see what the final version is. I mean, look at this standee for the Necromancer. Maybe they'll do a miniature as a big, giant, hairy, audacious stretch goal or something. That'd be cool. I don't think you would need miniatures for all the characters. I really, really don't. There's too many of them, and these standees are so nice. Now, look at the new standees that they did. They're big, and their artwork is fantastic. I think they're perfect. So let's start by picking our new characters and then getting them set up to play, and then we'll get right into it. Now, if you don't know Darkest Night, go back through my history. In fact, you probably just have to keep going back through the playlist, because I'm going to attach this to the Darkest Night playlist, and look at my previous playthroughs as well as other people's. Like I'm trying to remember everybody who's done them, but if you just go to Board Game Geek and I'll look for a couple, and maybe at the end of this video I'll talk about a couple of them. But like I know that I want to say Tragic the Blathering has done a couple. I know the Lonesome Gamer's done a couple. I think Paul Darcy did one. There's a bunch of people who did them, and me as well. You could go back and see how the basic game plays from the first edition. And like I said, I will do some comparisons when I run across them. of this edition and the last edition. But the main thing to me is the massive component upgrades and the cool factor that goes along with that. I mean, they're just beautiful components. Wait till you see the blights. I'm not really showing them to you in detail yet because I want to surprise you with that. But in the map cards are phenomenal. It really lends a continued feeling of the theme of the game. But let's get started, and we're going to pick our characters. So we got this big giant stack of characters. Now I want to take my favorite character. So what I decided to do is one of my favorite characters is the druid, and I think I'm just going to take him. So I at least have one character I can count on and know their abilities fairly well, so I can easily discuss the changes that took place in that character. So this here is the druid, and as you can see, I'll just read this. The druid has a special connection to the natural world and can call upon allies there to aid in his tasks. As nature has many faces, so too the druid can adopt a variety of shapes suited to varying purposes, allowing him to tailor his advantages to the task at hand. However, adopting one form loses the advantage of another, and thus the druid can be weak if caught unprepared. Okay, and you can see that the druid has a very specific symbol for him there, and those are reflected on his cards, which are also right here. And what I love about the new cards is before I think they all just had the symbol on the back, but this has kind of a shadowy image of the character, which really helps them stand out. And the artwork on them, while the same type of symbology is done, the treatment and the art on the treatment of the cards themselves is really well done and nice and clean, and I love it. Okay, so Druid's going to be our first character. Now, you know on the back there's nothing there but the turn track, or the turn order. So what we're going to do is, now what we have to do first is we have to pick out, and I think I put them in the back here, yeah. We have to pick out 3 abilities of the 5 starting abilities. You note the starting abilities by the icon in the corner. And again, I know this character very well, so I already know what I want to pick. I want to pick his animal companion card, which allows him to fight with 2 dice, and we'll go over what that means. If you're familiar with the game, you're going to go, I get that. I get what fighting with 2 dice means. And exhaust if you fail. And because this is an animal companion, the thematic part of that is if you fail, your animal companion has been injured or something and can't fight with you again until you unexhaust it by resting, etc. So that's going to be the first one we're going to take for him. Okay, the second one that we're going to take from him is camouflage. And like the animal companion, sort of, this is a tactic like the animal companion, and which means it can be used once in a round. It allows you to elude with 2 dice. Now remember, there's 2 things you can do when confronting something. That's fight it or run away from it or hide from it, and that gives him 2 dice with both of those capabilities. And then the other one I think we're going to take, and sometimes I like to do things differently, but I think I'm going to keep with what I typically start with him, is Visions, which it says exhaust after you draw an event card to discard it without effect. That can be incredibly important for him. Now, what do we do with the rest of his cards? Well, we take the 2 remaining starting cards of the 5, and we shuffle them into a deck. And during the game, he will get opportunities through items and adventures and quests and events and all kinds of other stuff to pick up additional abilities. And when he does that, he then gets to draw from this deck. And so we're going to put him aside. We know what he's going to be doing for the game to start with his 3 abilities: Animal Companion, Camouflage, and Visions. And those are very important to him. Now I'm going to shuffle up the deck of other characters. We're going to draw 3. And I hope I don't completely crucify myself with this randomness. One of the things about the game is it is fairly well balanced, but there are some combinations of characters that don't work as well as others. And we could run into that and encounter it, and it could make things difficult for us. Like, I could stage one that would make it pretty darn easy, because I know some characters that you can do. Like, I could add the rogue to the druid, and his abilities with secrecy are pretty powerful combined with him, and the monk also is another one I play really well with. So there's the scout, there's some the scholar, there's some that I do really well with. So we're going to reshuffle. Okay, and I'm going to cut this one more time. Boom. Then we're going to draw our next character and talk about their starting abilities. Okay, so we got the shaman. So we're definitely going for kind of a mystical theme here. It says, the shaman is a learned guide who can see and alter the spirit world. by balancing and cultivating delicate spiritual energies, she can access strength, health, and good fortune, turning events subtly to her favor. Her spirit totem can be invoked to sudden and spectacular effects, even from a great distance, but only after diligent preparation. So let's get her deck out and take a look at her. Okay, here's her deck, and again, I think I don't know if I shuffled this one the same way and got all her cards out. So we're going to take her cards out here. There are 5 starting cards, and we're going to decide which ones we want to start with here. Boom. Okay, so this is her. These are her other abilities, and we're going to take a look at her starting cards. Okay, let's take a look first at Fiery Totem. As an action, you can activate it in your current location. When you take an action, that's your action for the turn. Active action. Now that means once it's active in the current location, on further actions you can do this. Roll 8 dice for each 3+ rolled. A hero at this location gains a spark. This is a card that is directly different than the second version because sparks, or the first version rather, because sparks were not in the first version. So I have to think about that. That's pretty good. Okay. Ancestral Power. Bonus. Exhaust before any die roll to add 2 dice to that roll. Well, I think that's a no-brainer. Anytime you can add dice is good. Okay. Balance. Bonus. +1 die on an event roll, including fighting and eluding for events. When you hide, you may gain secrecy up to the default. Up to the default instead of up to 5. So your default starting one, which everybody has a different default. So for her default secrecy is actually 7. So it could take her past 5 up to 7. You normally things stop at 5, and there's her starting grace. Now, so grace is hit points, but thematically the deal is that you're being saved by the grace of the power of goodness, God, whatever you want to call it, as you fight the necromancer. Because if you are injured, you actually die, and your grace saves you from being killed. Just to give you some backstory on that. So that's pretty good. Let's think about that one. Then we got a Dove Totem. Activate in your current location. Again, this is something you drop in an area like the village. Okay. Roll 6 dice for each 3 rolled. 3+ rolled. A hero at this location may gain up to 1 grace, up to the default, and then it deactivates. Well, I think we'll take that one. That's pretty good. And Spirit Sight. At the start of your turn, if there's no map card on this power, draw one and place it here. You may return it to the top of the map deck at any time. Well, that's pretty good too for setting up what's going to happen next, right? I don't know if I want to start with that though, because these two don't really, I mean, except, well, the Ancestral Power gives her some ability, fighting ability, but I really do like this one with the sparks, because the sparks also allowed you to add extra dice. I think we're going to do that just to start something different. So then I got to, again, take the 2 cards that she didn't pick and shuffle them into her deck. And we have our second character ready to go. So I'm going to go place her aside, and we'll pick our third character and see what happens next. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we get. Boom! The Tinker. Now this is one I haven't played. I don't know anything about the Tinker. Okay, well, let's read about the Tinker. This could be one of those groups that I'm getting a little nervous about. We'll see. The Tinker. The Tinker scorns traditional wisdom, determined to form his own understanding rather than rely on the teachings of others. Through constant experimentation, he gradually develops and refines his own tools. Every one the first of its kind. Due to its unique origin, the Tinker's magic is not quite like any other in the world. Well, that's cool, but we'll see what that does for us, right? So let's get the Tinker's cards out and take a look. So I like that they made it easier. You see that the symbols match the cards, so it makes it a lot easier to find your character cards, right? Okay. Anyway, let's see what he's got. So there's 2 of his starting cards, 4, and we got 1 more to find here. Where is it? There it is. 5. Okay. Let's see what his stuff looks like. Now, assume he makes gadgets and stuff, I imagine. Okay, so let's see. Darkening Gadget. Let's see what this is. Action. Activate. Roll 2 dice for each 2+ rolled. Every hero at your location gains 1 secrecy up to 7. That's pretty good. And when it's active, well, this is an action. When I activate it, this happens. And then while it's active, +2 dice in fights, deactivate if you lose. I like that one a lot. We're going to put that aside. Now, as you can see, again, prototype stuff. Okay, so the art is coming soon on this one. So stabilizing gadget. Activate, optionally attempt a quest or mystery in your location with +1 die on any required roll. Active, gain 1 spark at the start of your turn, deactivate if you spend a spark. Okay, so as long as that's active, that's a pretty good card. I'm going to put that aside. We'll see. Man, I like these. Wow. Accelerator, choose one of your gadgets, use its action effect twice, then deactivate and exhaust it. Okay. The torsion gadget, activate. So when activated as an action, optionally attack with +1 dice. Active, +2 dice when eluding. Deactivate after you experience an event with a fate of 2 or less. Pretty good. And then this one's action. This is the Surveyor's gadget. Activate, search +1 die, but subtract 1 from each die. I don't know if I like that. And then +1 die when attacking blights. Deactivate if you move. Okay, well, I'm pretty convinced we're doing this darkening gadget with the sparks. Well, with the fight dice, rather. That one and the one with the sparks. So that was the accelerator. No. That's the stabilizing gadget. Yeah, gain a spark at the start of your turn to deactivate if you spend. Okay, we're going to take that one. And uno más, one more. Let's see. I think I'm going to take this one, the Surveyor gadget, even though it has kind of a negative effect. This ability to attack blights with + die if you don't move is pretty good. I'm going to take those 3. We'll see. Again, this is a character I haven't played, so I'm just basing it off what I perceive the benefits of the powers to be. Okay, that is our third of 4 characters. Let's keep going and see what we get next. All right, one more. Who we get? Oh, good, a fighter. The Valkyrie. I was a little concerned there. Let me get the Valkyrie's cards out, and we'll see what we get with her. So I want to keep in mind that there are 25 other characters that we could be playing this game session with. But let me pull out, wait, where are her, hey man, where are her starting cards? Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Huh. Her starting, oh, okay, sorry, they're marked, they're just lighter, it could confuse me. They're there. Okay, I have to find those ones. Boom. It's different on these cards. Crazy. Okay, boom, and there should be one more. Okay, it threw me for a loop for a minute, but we're good, we found the right ones. Okay, alright, so we got Elusive Spirit. When the Necromancer's movement roll is exactly the minimum required to detect any hero, that hero may choose whether or not to be detected. Okay, that's good. Visions of Death, I know this one's good. Activate when you suffer a wound or a death. Deactivate after any die to roll 1 to add 1 die. I think we'll probably end up taking that one. Tactic, Skewer, fight with 2 dice. This is similar to the Druid's one, but it doesn't deactivate if you lose. So we'll definitely take that one because we need some fighting power. Sprout Wings, activate and lose 1 secrecy. Deactivate, move to any location. So you can Sprout Wings, move somewhere. I think we're probably going to take that one because that makes her very mobile. Rich in Spirit, activate when you take a wound. Deactivate when you fail a search to draw a power card. We'll take, I think, it's between Visions of Death and, it's between these two. Activate when you suffer a wound. Deactivate after any die roll to add a die. Adding a die, drawing a power card. I think we're going to do that so we can beef her up quickly. We'll take the power card. Now again, Rich in Spirit's new. You see there's new art coming, so there's no art on that on this prototype card. That is our 4th character, so we're going to have the Druid, the Shaman, the Tinker, and the Valkyrie trying to overcome the Necromancer. I'm going to get their standees out, put them on the table, and then we're going to come right back. Okay, so here are their standees. You can see they're very nice. These ones are super thick. And the artwork is phenomenal on them. Really cool stuff, right? And you can see here's the Shaman. Boom. Here's the Tinker. Now I've already shuffled all the other cards and that. So I said I might not start in this session, but I might. I mean, I think we might have the ability to at least get 1 turn going. But let me get the characters out on the main board, and you'll get to see what that looks like. Now, the main board is also just a folded, it's a nice stock, but it's just folded cardboard. It's not mounted or anything like that. I think I haven't seen the Kickstarter yet, but I don't know if it's going to be a mounted board or not. That would be cool. It's the beautiful artwork on the board. So let's get the standees up on the board in the monastery, and we'll get going. So Darkest Night 2nd edition starts identically to the same way that Darkest Night 1st edition does, where you have your 4 characters here in the monastery. And you cannot search here, and when you're here, you don't draw an event card. So these first turns are usually very quick. You're just deciding on where you want to go, really. We do have to populate the board with blights. I did not do that. So we're going to get that done, and this will give me the opportunity to show you the blights that are starting on the board. Every location will pretty much start with one, because what we're going to do is we're going to draw the top map card. We're going to take a look at it, and we're going to go down. Now you see that the monastery does not have a blight, but every other location does. Well, so with the mountains, what we're going to do is we're going to take this card and we're going to populate all of the blights from that. So in the mountains, we're going to have a taint. And so I have to go look amongst the, I don't have them in alphabetical or anything, so I just kind of have to glance through them. I did notice that there aren't as many of the different blights as there were in the base game. Seemed that there was more of them, like maybe not as many of each one can hit. Like there's only a couple that might have 4 or something like that, and I'm trying desperately to find taint. There it is. Okay. And I love these new tiles for this. So up in the mountains, we're going to have a taint. And what does a taint do? Well, to defeat it, we have to beat a 5. And what does it do? So other cool part is on the flip side of this, it has all the same information, because one of the things I didn't like is before, when you flipped it over, you lost the cool artwork, but now you don't. That's cool too. It says taint. You cannot gain any grace there, and if you fail against it, it doesn't do anything to you. Like, you don't have to fight it or anything like that, but if you fail against it, you lose a grace. So we're going to take the taint, and we're going to put that up in the mountains. Then we're going to look at this again, and we're going to see the castle. The castle has an unholy aura. Well, that's no bueno, is it? Unholy aura is right here. Takes a 4 to defeat, and if you don't know the game, you'll understand that when I go through it. I'm assuming you're going back and watching something else to learn the basics of the game. Unholy aura grants a -1 fight die in the location, and if you fail at defeating it, you're going to lose a grace there as well. So that is going up in the castle. I don't think you can see that. Let me back up just a little bit so you can see where I'm putting everything. Awesome. Okay. Then next up, we have the village, and the village is going to have webs. Webs kind of suck. They keep you from moving. Where are the webs? I will find them sooner or later. Just a moment. Okay, so far we've been pretty lucky. We haven't been getting some of the more devastating blights. And this one's in the village. And these are webs. You can see it's got like a bunch of trees with webs in between. There's some horrible thing. Spiders or something. Now, in the webs it says lose a turn when you're leaving. So if we choose to go to the village, we're going to want to defeat that. Excuse me. To defeat it, we need a 5, and if we lose a secrecy, and that is going to be here in the village. So we have webs. Let's put it right there in the village. Then we're going to take a look at the swamps. Now on here you see what items you would get if you succeeded to search there. See these blue keys? Those would now represent investigation clues. Okay, so now we're on the swamp. We're going to pull an omen, and omens are not very good either, but still this one's kind of tougher. I think this is one of the other ones this one's a little rough, and it's going to be in the swamp. Makes sense because that's where the necromancer is. There's an omen, requires a 6 to defeat. It says, whoop, I dropped it. It says here that the omen says higher fate events. So what that means is when you draw, you're going to draw 2 events, and you're going to take the events have a number, rating number, and you're going to take the higher of the 2. And if you fail, you get an event immediately. So that's pretty bad. That's going to be in the ruins. We're going to have to make sure when we do go tackle that, we're ready for it. Then we got the forest. Oh, did I skip the forest? I did. I skipped the forest, went right to the... Oh, wait. The omen was supposed to be in the swamps. Sorry, guys. Omen is in the swamps. Okay, then we have the forest, which is the shroud. Let me find the shroud here. Okay, amongst the... I think in between sessions, I'm probably going to put these in alphabetical order so I can find them more quickly. There it is. There's the shroud. You can see that requires a 5. It's got really cool artwork on it, showing the big skull floating over the forest rather. And that is actually going to be in the forest. And it says protects blights. So to destroy another blight, I have to destroy this one. If we fail, we get killed. We lose a grace, and that is going to be here in the forest. That one's not too terribly bad, but we do lose grace if we fail against it. And then last but not least, we do have the ruins, and it is going to be the Nexus. So the Nexus is a bad one, and there's only one of them. Here it is. It only requires a 3. And it sucks that this is in the ruins, but it does make sense. Nexus protects far blights. So let's take a look at what that does. It's no effect if we don't, if we fail against it. So let's take a look. Now we got a chart here that shows what all of the different blights do. We're going to look at the Nexus. So let's take a look at the Nexus. It's right over here, I believe. You got it in camera. Yep, okay. Heroes cannot destroy blights that are outside the Nexus location. The Nexus must be destroyed first. So, wow, that is rough. And it's in the area with the Necromancer. So we need the Necromancer to move. Or we don't really. We could send the Valkyrie there straight away and take out the Nexus. And that may be... Now, there's no turn order. And that's, by the way, that's all of them. So this card would then be discarded, this map card. And by the way, aren't the map cards now just gorgeous? Isn't that beautiful? Just gorgeous. I mean, they really called pimp your game, man. This is the way to do it. Okay, we're going to continue on. Now, in a game of Darkest Night, there are no turn orders. I can play the characters in any turn order I want, right? So that's what these tokens are for. So when you take that character's turn, you flip it over to the night side, showing that that character is gone for the turn. And I'm really thinking that, man, see, it's an action, though, so we would sprout wings, but we couldn't go anywhere this turn, but I do think it's worth doing. Because we can't do anything. We can just move out and search at this point. I think we'll spread out and search the areas best we can and deal with and suffer the effects of the blights there because we don't have a choice. I mean, it's going to take us 2 turns to get to deal with that Nexus regardless. And I think our best bet for dealing with the Nexus is either the Druid or the Valkyrie. So I'm going to set them up in such a way that that will happen, I believe. But anyway, so this also, you see that we have our secrecy and our grace markers on the boards with the characters, and those will change as we do things on the board. Now, again, if you're in the monastery, no bad things happen. Normally, in the turn, you would draw an event, and then you would go. But since they're all in the monastery, there are no events, and we're just going to move our characters and deal with the locations, which is good. Now, a move is an action, so when we move, and in fact, let me get one of the cards out, and we'll talk about the turn order just for those that are new to the game. Oh, heck, I'll just put it up on screen. So you can see that in your hero turn, it says, in any order, each hero takes a turn, and it shows you where to reference that in the book. And it says start. Lose 1 secrecy if the Necromancer is present. So if you start your turn in the same space as the Necromancer, you lose a secrecy. You lose 1 if you're carrying a holy relic. The holy relics give off a aura that the Necromancer and his minions can see. Resolve start of turn instructions on power cards. If you have anything that says start of turn, you would resolve it. And then, again, we would skip this event if in the monastery we would have an event card. If the Necromancer is present and your secrecy is 0, you have to fight the Necromancer, otherwise you draw an event card. Okay, then you get to take actions, perform 1 action. Then you get to end. If any blights in your location have an end of turn effect, resolve them. If you spent your entire turn in the monastery, gain 1 secrecy. So, we are in the secrecy, in the monastery, but we're at the beginning of our turn, so we don't do much. But we do get to take an action. You can see travel, move, gain 1 secrecy up to the maximum of 5. Hide, refresh your powers. So, for example, if the Druid were to lose a fight and lose his animal companion, he could hide, and it would refresh all his powers. Okay, and he'd gain a secrecy. You can attack, you can fight a Blight or the Necromancer, but that does lose you a secrecy, whether or not you destroy it. You can search, which is roll against the difficulty of the area, and draw a map card to see what kind of treasures you get. You can pray at the monastery, you roll 2 dice and gain 1 secrecy for every 3+. This is new. You can meditate, and that gains you 1 spark. And remember, 1 spark, you can spend them to add a die. And then you can retrieve holy relics. Now, we are playing with the advanced mystery deck, so we do not discard 3 keys to take a holy relic from a location. But we still can retrieve a holy relic when we have 10 clues. Then we can go pick up a holy relic. And then any action effect from any available card would happen at that point. As an action, if we choose to take the action. So that is our turn. So let's start. Might as well start with our man, the druid. I think that, so this shroud here, it protects other blights there, so it doesn't do anything. We don't have to worry about it. I think though that we're going to take our druid and move, because he's going to, I think he'll head toward the Nexus. Might as well. And that's our druid, so he's going to simply move from here to here. He would gain a secrecy, however, he is already above 5, so he can't. So that is, I mean, literally, that is his entire turn. He took an action of moving to the forest. And again, normally we would draw an event card first, but he's coming from the monastery, so we don't. I think the shaman, who was decent at, well, I think none of them had any really, really good ability at searching. The tinker does, though. The tinker does. So I think the tinker, an area that's pretty easy to search at, and it has keys with a search difficulty of 3, is the village, but these webs are there and we can't destroy them right away, so we'll lose a secrecy if we attack it, and we would lose a turn when we try to leave. But I think that's okay. I think we're going to send our tinker to the village. He's going to start there. Now he's hidden, so nobody can really see him. The necromancer is going to move at random, so there's a pretty good chance he will move into one of these areas, and we'll have to leave him to get to the next area, which is fine, except for here because of the webs. I think our Valkyrie, we're going to activate her ability of Sprout Wings, which is fine because she's in the monastery, so even though she's activating this at the end of her turn, she's going to gain back the secrecy, so it'll have no secrecy change. So we're going to activate this and lose the secrecy, and then when it's active, we can deactivate it to move to any free location. So I'm going to put that on her character card so that we can see that it's active. And actually, in the game, I should use these since they're part of the game now. I'm going to take this inactive token. I'm going to put it on there just to show that it is active. Why not? And you can do that instead of putting it on your character card. In the old version 1, you just put active powers on your character card. Okay, that was the Valkyrie. So she stayed there. So at the end of her turn, she regains the secrecy. Now, neither of these had end of turn events, but I believe the Taint does. Does the Taint? Nope, this can't gain secrecy. So I think our shaman will head up to the mountains. Yep, that is the big whopping turn for the heroes. And now we take the turn of the necromancer. So a couple things happened. I thought they used to have the necromancer's turn on the card. Let me see if they do. So yeah, they do. Okay, perfect, on this big card. So you lose 1 secrecy when you start in the same location. This is the necromancer's turn, right? During the necromancer's turn, you increase the darkness by 1 for each desecration blight on the board. Well, we don't have any, but it's increased +1. So right now, this marker here, the darkness marker, is just going to go up by 1. That's part of his turn. We're going to add any markers to the quest. Now, in the basic game, you don't start with a quest in the village. We could have done that, but I'm not going to do it now. There are no quests on the board. We could have started with a quest in the village as part of the alternative setup. We didn't do that. Okay, and then we're going to move. We'll see plenty of quests. Trust me, they will come out when we start, because next turn we're going to be drawing event cards for everybody. Okay, and then we're going to add a marker to quests, which we don't have any. Then we're going to roll 1 die and compare it to the hero's secrecy. He really can't detect anybody, but it is going to make a difference in regards to his movement. And we're going to move toward the hero based on what he rolls and create a blight there. So that is going to be his turn. So let's do that. Okay, this black die here is our dice for the necromancer. We're going to drop it in our cool necromancer dice tower and see what happens with the necromancer. Well, he rolled a 1, so he definitely didn't see anybody, but the 1, which was part of what I was a little bit afraid of, but not too bad, it is going to move him to the forest where our druid is. But remember, our druid can elude, so the necromancer is going to move here. Then we're going to draw a map card. We're going to draw a map card and see what happens in the forest. So in the forest, he dropped an omen. Okay, right there, see the omen in the forest. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to drop an omen in there. Let me grab an omen. And I guess, I don't know, I got to look in the like I said, there aren't as many as there were. So I need to look and see what happens if we run out, because there's only 3 omens. So I assume if we draw cards, there's only enough cards to put out 3 omens. Okay, here's the omen. We've seen this before. It's a 6, and it has a higher fate event when he draws his event. So that's going to kind of hurt him next turn. He's got to get out of there. But remember, he's got a special ability that he can use to get rid of those. So right now there are two of the blights there. That kind of bites in the forest, and the necromancer is in the same location as our heroic druid. So that's a full turn, guys. So this is a rather long video, so we're going to end it there. And I hope that you enjoy this. You can see that it in essence is the same. It is the same game with some enhancements and new cards. And like I said, you see that there's new ability cards that have been filtered in as they don't have artwork yet and things like that that are going to change some of the game mechanics. And I think it's a little cleaner. You can see how quickly that first turn went. Love the bigger board. It's so colorful and but yet still has that dark tone to it. I just dig it. And the big giant character standees and the big giant necromancer standee, all just fantastic. And the awesome new blight tokens with the artwork on the back, so you can flip it up and have it there and still see the cool artwork while dealing with the blight. It's pretty cool. I love that. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please tell your friends, come watch Darkest Night, the beta play of the second edition, and let's get going. As I go through this, I think I might start off each episode with a little review of maybe one of the other characters, look through some of their powers or something, and talk about some aspect of the changes the game, something new. I don't know. We shall see. I'm going to try and get as much of that in as I can so you can have as much enjoyment out of this playthrough as possible. So, guys, thank you so much. Take care, and I will see you in the next episode.